Hello, everybody. My name is Joy Kogawa. I'm reading Naomi's Tree, which is my book for children, in celebration of Asian Heritage Month in Canada for the Canadian Embassy in Tokyo. Naomi's Tree. This is the front page. And the book is dedicated to Senator Nancy Ruth from me. She is a senator in Canada, and she bought Kogawa House, and therefore it survives. This is the first page. This is a picture of the tree. The truth is that the tree's blossoms were white blossoms, not pink. White blossoms give fruit. Pink blossoms don't, but the artist made them pink. I'll be reading now. Long ago, in the land of mourning, which is known today as Japan, a beautiful cherry tree grew. Each spring, lilting pink blossoms danced into view and filled the air like popcorn. And as the flowers fell in a snowy cloud, children joined hands and sang and skipped around the tree. Soon little green cherries arrived, and one day the fruit was ripe and delicious and ready to eat. Ah, is this not a friendly world? The people murmured as they feasted on the sweetness. The maker, who had created the world for friendship, smiled upon the cherry tree and blessed it. The second page. So it was. Over time, the beautiful tree became known as the friendship tree. Mothers visited with their babies on their backs. Old people sat and rested under the peaceful branches and in the gentle, welcoming light that surrounded the tree. And so the years went by and the years went by. The seeds from the friendship tree traveled to other islands and countries far away. In the bellies of beasts, in boats, and in the beaks of many birds, they drifted and sailed and flew. This is the next page. Eventually, after many years, one precious seed was carried in the kimono sleeve of a young bride who sailed over the great waters to the land across the sea called Canada. There, in a lovely city by the water's edge, the bride and her new husband found a pretty house with windows across the front and a big playroom in the basement. In the backyard of the house, they planted the precious seed, and in the spring, ping, up came a new baby friendship tree. Over the years, the tree grew and grew, welcoming the gentle seasons of sunshine and rain. Life inside the house grew as well. Children were born and became adults, and eventually 2 grandchildren, Stephen and Naomi, arrived. The children lay on blankets under the cherry tree. They watched the sparrows and robins that hopped from branch to branch, and they listened to the hushed voices of the leaves. Naomi played with her dolls and had tea parties in the shade of the tree, and she hung upside down like a monkey from the lowest branch. Every spring, when the cherry blossoms arrived and fell in a snowy cloud, Naomi sang and skipped around the tree. What a cheery cherry tree you are. What a beautiful tree you are. Later, as the season of cherries arrived, the whole family, Daddy and Mama, Stephen and Naomi, feasted on the delicious fruit. In the evenings, Naomi looked out her bedroom window at the tree sleeping in the moonlight. "Good night, cherry tree. Good night, she said, and all was well. But the world changed. One sad day, Mama had to go far away to the land of mourning to visit her grandmama who was sick. "I'll be back," Mama said as she left. Naomi waited and waited and waited, but the land of mourning and the land across the sea were now at war. Mama could not return to her family. Great sadness filled the world, and in the land across the sea, families like Naomi's, whose parents or grandparents had come from the land of mourning, were told that they were enemies. They were all sent away from their homes, their schools, their gardens, their trees, and their friends. The last night before she left her home, Naomi could not sleep. She tiptoed out to the backyard on the cool light of the evening. She put her arms around the tree and looking up into the branches said, "I wish we didn't have to leave. I wish you could talk to me, cherry tree. I wish we could stay with you." The cherry tree trembled with sadness. The branches and leaves filled with soft whisperings. "Remember me, Naomi. Goodbye, goodbye." After the war was over, Naomi and her brother wished with all their hearts that they could return to their house and their happy life, but they could not. Mama had died in the war, and strangers now lived in their old house. All the families like Naomi's were scattered across the country like cherry blossoms in the wind. And so the years went by, and the years went by. As Naomi grew older, she often dreamt about going home, but the dream was just a dream, and it would never come true. Finally, one day, Naomi stopped thinking about the dear house with the windows across the front, and she stopped thinking about the cherry tree. But the cherry tree never stopped thinking about Naomi. The winter winds and the spring breezes carried the cherry tree's lonely song over the mountain tops to the plains. May she be safe, may she be kind, may she come back again. At night, the cherry tree's song echoed faintly in Naomi's dreams. And across the miles, the ants, the butterflies, the frogs, the worms, and other tiny creatures that leap and dart and burrow about sent their messages back to the tree. Yes, she is safe with us. Yes, she is kind to us. Yes, she will come back again. One day, many, many years later, when Naomi and Stephen were old, they visited the lovely city by the water's edge. They found the street where they used to live, and they drove up and down searching for their first home. "Maybe it's gone," Naomi said. But just at that moment, she looked on the opposite side of the street, and there, set back behind two tall trees, stood the dear old house. It was almost as it used to be, with the same windows across the front. They saw that the house was empty, and they jumped from the car. "Should we go into the yard?" Naomi asked. Yes, Stephen said. They opened the gate, walked down the steps, and followed the sidewalk around to the backyard. The garage was just where it had been. Looking up, Naomi saw the windows to her bedroom, and below was the playroom door. It was all the same as before. And then Naomi saw the cherry tree. It was an old, old tree now, scarred and bleeding with sap, but it was still alive. Someone had wrapped bandages around the wounded branches. Naomi reached out and put her hand gently on the trunk, and suddenly she remembered everything. She remembered lying on a blanket under the tree with her mother, listening to the whispering leaves. She remembered playing and singing and hanging like a monkey from the lowest branch. She remembered the day her mother left and the day her family was sent away from their home. And she remembered the last night when she said, "I wish you could talk to me, cherry tree. I wish we could stay with you." Naomi put her arms around the tree and leaned her head on the hard, rough bark. All the trees she had not shed came flooding out. "Dear cherry tree," she said softly, "my dear, dear cherry tree, how old we have become." "Ah, Naomi," the ragged voice of the cherry tree sighed through the leaves. "How long I have been waiting for you. How good it is to be with you again." And as the tree trembled, so did Naomi. They are both filled with the old sadness of parting and the new happiness of meeting again. And in their trembling together, Naomi remembered Mama's last words to her. "I'll be back." "Are you here, Mama?" Naomi whispered, putting her lips to the rough bark of the tree. From deep, deep inside her, from a place as quiet as moonlight, she could hear her mother's voice. "Yes, my dear Naomi, you are safe with me. You are at home with me." "Come," Naomi said, beckoning. "Listen, Stephen." Stephen put one arm around Naomi and the other arm around the tree. He put his ear against the trunk. Softly, softly, Mama and the tree sang to them both. "May the world be safe. May the world be kind. May the world forever be our home." "Can you hear?" Naomi asked. Stephen nodded and smiled. And so it was. And so it continues to be. Throughout the world, the songs of the friendship trees and the songs of those who love us forever fill the air like cherry blossoms in spring. Bye-bye.